Hello, everybody. This is Louise Edington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology, and I'm going to give you the week ahead forecast for the week beginning February the 2nd. And oh, excuse me, my hair. I've just come out the shower too. But we have, yeah, another big week. and Kathy and Andy and I are recording later today, and we are going to still keep recording. We still maintain things are going to turn around, and we still maintain that a lot of the big things coming out are probably things that we need to see, but we also still maintain that that there was election interference, and now smart data, smart elections, as a lot of data out there proving it. Some reps have been calling for an investigation. I think it's way beyond a recount, and I have done for a long time. So I don't think that Joe or Kamala could have just done something. So this is kind of big, well planned. We can see what the chaos is out there. Keep the faith. Look after yourself, take care of yourself and you and yours, work in your local community, start taking action to do what you can to protect yourselves and to also start to turn this around, because it really, Aquarius is about the people. And anyway, there's my lecture. We'll probably lecture again on on the Kathy and Andy call. But I do want to mention one thing, and I did mention it on a thing I did with somebody else that's going to be uploaded later, that Mark Elias of Democracy Docket, he's the election lawyer who worked on the Harris campaign, and he's got lots of court cases. He said, and this is such a Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer, out of bounds energy. Just this phrase. He said it's time to stop belly aching. And so Mars is about action, will, drive. Cancer is the sign of the stomach. And yes, it's awful. Our sense of security feels threatened, but Mars is out of bounds and causing the chaos, but also saying time to stop the belly aching, belly, Cancer, and just do things. Anyway, and I know it's hard, but anyway, week ahead, let's go on. But that's why I always talk about do your self-care, look after yourself first, then see what you can do. Okay, so February the 2nd, don't doom scroll. I barely watch any news now. I usually watch our local night news just to see what's happening. So February the 2nd, we start the week with February the 2nd, just a little catch up here. By the time we start next week at 12 a.m. Washington time, Mars still out of bounds and retrograde. He's retrograde till February the 23rd, but out of bounds till April. So he's out of bounds for quite a long time. I added asteroid chaos, and for some reason, I feel like I'm going to leave that in there. Jupiter is stationing direct this week, so he's almost at his station direct point as we start the week. Uranus has just stationed direct and is still exactly at the station direct point. And these bigger planets, it's usually a few days either side that we feel this big turnaround. I do have to say I think the Uranus station was connected in some way to the awful plane and helicopter collision over DC. I don't have any other theories on that, so I'll leave that to people who love to come up with theories. I don't know. The moon starts the week in Aries. Okay, so we've got that. We can also see that as we start the week, Venus will have passed Neptune and the North Node for the first time, coming into her retrograde. And incidentally, if you're listening to this on Friday, Venus Day, happy Venus Day, the price for my Venus class goes up tomorrow morning to the full price of $3.97, and there's only going to be one pay. So if you register today, there's a 2-pay option and it's $3.47. But look at them all, they're all at 28 degrees. So we'll look at that too. I am leaving some of my centaurs and things in, and asteroids, because I just feel like these times need, a big deep look. And I love that Vesta and Hecate are here at 10 degrees of Scorpio, traveling together. Hecate shines her torch at the crossroads, showing you the way. She is the way shower. Vesta is your inner flame. So we've got 2 torches. We've got kind of your inner torch and the one showing you the way. They're both working together, and they're in the sign of Scorpio, which is the sign of empowerment and disempowerment and manipulation, but also stepping into that core sacral empowerment thing. So anyway, the aspects. So on February the 2nd, I don't think we have any major aspects worth speaking about. So I'm not going to. I'm just going to mention that we've got the moon in Aries. It's now, a waxing moon, really gaining light after that new moon that we had at 9 Aquarius. So it's really time to start pulling ideas together, speaking out, doing things, all that kind of stuff that I keep nagging about. So on to February the 3rd. Let's go a day. February the 3rd, no major aspects again that I can see. There's a couple that I will mention actually. Mercury over here. Mercury is in Aquarius, a whistle-stop journey, really fast moving thoughts, but fast moving chaos. But there's a lot of pieces to pull together. That's why I'm trying not to pay too much attention to all the drivel that's coming out of the administration, and to the people that have been confirmed, his awful nominees, because there's nothing I can do to change that right now. So instead of sitting in horror, I'll read kind of the bits, pulling some pieces together. And yes, I have said for a long time that his intention was to cause chaos, because that's what Putin's intention was. So it's happening. So how do we deal with it? Anyway, Mercury, the mind, comes up, squares Hecate and Vesta, and I just talked about them, and makes an air trine to Jupiter in Mercury's sign, and Jupiter is stationing direct the next day. This is some big ideas, but this is also more chaos. So it's really important to kind of take the bigger picture, which is very Aquarian, and to really kind of pull out the details that matter, pulling it deep into your soul and seeing what can I do about this. Okay, so yes, sorry to anybody else out there who's not in the US. I know it's very US centric, but this is causing chaos everywhere. So, anyway, you get the idea. So Mercury makes those aspects. The moon is still in Aries and will, take action, aspects, all the things, comes up to Chiron, squares Mars. You're being asked to stop belly aching, basically. And I'm not being cruel when I say that, but, his point was, vote, go and volunteer locally, go and get involved locally and work on, doing what you can, speak out, instead of just going, oh, this is awful, kind of thing. That's kind of what he was saying. So then later on February the 3rd, Mars will actually act exactly square Chiron in Mars' own sign. You are the key to healing, each individual. We have kind of been very lazy, me too, and, we've learned a lot from this chaos, and we've learned that everything is connected, and elections matter, and who we vote for matters, and worldwide, I think we're learning a lot of these lessons. So if you're not there yet, because this fascism is, or autocracy, whatever you want to call it, oligarchy, is rising everywhere. It's up to the people to do something about it, and that's the moon. So action. Okay, to protect what you have, or to or to fight this takeover that we have. So then later on February the 3rd, the moon will move into Taurus for a couple of days, which is grounded more in the values. You can see that the moon is just in Taurus on February the 4th. And so just quickly looking through the aspects, Venus moves into Aries first. So we have a lot of change again this week. Venus moves into Aries at 2:56 a.m. and that's the sign she's going to go retrograde in. And this retrograde is just so off the charts. You really want to come and do my class, because this is major kind of dig deep, do your inner healing, and we do the shamanic healing in the class, and then come out empowered to act for what you want, to move towards, take action on your desires. Aries, new beginnings. Anyway, so, come join us. And, if you're really struggling to afford the investment, please email me at louise@louiseedington.com. You don't have to go into a poor me sob story, but, just give me the basics of, what you can offer and why you would like me to offer you a discount. I don't want people to feel like they have to beg. It's okay. And then Jupiter stations direct. So Venus moves into Aries, 2:56 a.m. and then Jupiter moves stations direct at 11 degrees 16 minutes. So this is the direct station. This is a gateway number. This is a big change around. Jupiter is then going to travel back over the current Venus star point at 14 Gemini and the north node of Uranus. The June the 4th star point. I often see these exterior star points as kind of more out there, out in the world chaos, and that Venus star point has caused chaos, and it was conjunct Uranus north node. But Jupiter's going back over all of this and saying we've kind of been revisiting this, and now it's time to act for what we believe in, what we have faith in, anywhere in the world, in your business, life, whatever. And so, all of this is really working together. And so obviously I'm going to track the things day by day as well in my Substack, mostly for paid subscribers. I've decided my new and full moon days will be always free. I'm kind of adjusting some things like that because Gemini moon, Gemini moon. But things need to change a little bit. But one thing I do want to make you aware of is that this is a double one. That the North node, Neptune and Venus were all at 28 degrees, which is 2 + 8 was a 1. Then Venus is going to move into Aries, which is a new beginning. Then we have these all at ones and Pholus all at ones, lifting the lid off, and Mercury, of course. This is a lot of new beginnings. This, we're now gaining light after that Aquarius new moon. And Aquarius wants liberation and freedom. And so we want freedom, but we're really beginning to realize now that we actually have more freedom when we have systems in place that help create freedom for all and support everybody's freedom. Anyway, so my lectures will keep going, I'm sure, because Jupiter's stationing direct on my moon. So I hope you feel I'm inspiring. I do still think we're going to be okay, right? So just saying. And I have to tell you, in fact, I'm probably going to listen again and try and get her on my podcast or just do a video on it myself and credit her but it's about an alignment that's coming up this year that is purely magical. August, around, well, it's it's kind of reaching a peak of healing at that point. And so I think I need to look at that more and do a thing. So on February the 5th, Jupiter's now direct, Uranus is now direct, Mercury is whizzing along, catching up to the sun, about to have its superior cazimi. It is under the beams of the sun. So, you know, a lot of this might still be kind of like burning off old ideas, and trying to find the clarity with Mercury so close to the sun. I don't really kind of buy the old rules about combust, that Mercury is weakened. I kind of feel like we have to kind of think differently with Mercury combust and kind of look a little bit side eye, and like I said, lift yourself above and try and see the bigger picture. I'm so saggy, I always try and see the bigger picture, but I think we're all being asked to do it right now. So yeah, Moon in Taurus all day February the 5th. Doesn't make a huge amount of aspects, except we have at 3:02 a.m. on February the 5th the first quarter moon. So when the moon gets to 16 degrees, yeah, we'll have the first quarter moon, and that's the action phase. And this is Aquarius to Taurus. This is about values and future. This is kind of saying, you know, it's time to really kind of get rooted in your values and persevere, Taurus, for the future and for the world you want to see in the future. And this will matter in your business, your personal life, in every way. So, but it's really the action phase is this first quarter moon. And I'm going to say, really, the first quarter moon at 16 Aquarius Taurus is really in a fixed T square with these two that are shining that torch. But you have to look inwards first. Okay. Oh, I can so tell this Gemini Jupiter's stationing on my moon. It's kind of wild. I will try not to do all the talking when I meet Kathy and Andy. So on February the 6th, the sun, you know, has moved to Cariclo. Cariclo is still sitting there, holding space, working together with a couple of the other centaurs. You can see Nessus she's coming up to, they're all around the same degree. Nessus, Cariclo, and Cariclo's husband, Chiron. This is very centauric, healing opportunities. Remember, the centaurs and the cosmos impels, it doesn't compel. We have to respond and react to this push. Okay. So also on February the 6th, so Uranus, okay, over here has moved a degree, and so Uranus is going to square off to Ceres. Now Ceres was discovered at 23 Taurus, and in her discovery chart, Saturn was at 23 Leo. I think it was exact square. It was very close. So this is opposing where Saturn was on her discovery chart, and Uranus is at the degree where she was discovered, saying, you know, I kind of told you so. Ceres is in Aquarius, is saying none of this is meeting anybody's needs, the people's needs, the collective needs, the group needs. None of this is meeting needs. People are going to start waking up. This Ceres Uranus square is really activating things that began way back in the middle of the Industrial Revolution, right? And in the really early days of the United States. We're seeing that the Constitution is just being ignored, and I listened to the Bulwark, another podcast, and that one was saying the founders never thought about what would happen if the checks and balances that were built into the Constitution all just went yes massa to to the executive branch and just did their bidding. They just didn't envision it. And I've long said that, you know, this is poking those holes in it. And now kind of like political commenters are saying it. But this is reflected in everywhere. Like, you know, perhaps institutions that have built up since that period, because we're in this kind of, a lot of things are kind of repeating, and those aspects coming back from that founding time, and boundaries and things all, and alliances all changing. It's having to kind of relook at them and say, where can we fill up the holes and stop this happening again, or make it better and make it work for everybody. So I still think that's going to happen. So anyway, but this I think is very big. Uranus squaring Ceres, with Uranus at her discovery degree, and he was only discovered just 20 years before. They broke the patterns of astrology. They broke the boundaries. These were used in astrology after that. Yes, they were always there, but they were in our consciousness. But they also kind of broke the boundaries and patterns and broke things open, both in good ways, and it's turned out that, you know, now we're seeing where things were not watertight, if you like. Anyway, that's February the 6th, and the moon will move into Gemini on February the 6th, and will come up and hit Jupiter, and a lot of news coming out with the moon in Gemini for Thursday, end of next week. An awful lot of news coming out, I think. February the 7th, okay, we'll move to that. So Venus Day again, next Friday. Venus Day. Venus is moved into Aries. Venus is actually at her degree of the next star point that will begin on March 22nd, where it will be in the middle of her retrograde. But on that day, so we're seeing getting a foreshadowing of what's coming during this retrograde. So whether you join my class or not, pay attention. I did a whole video on this. Neptune and the North Node are conjunct at this degree, 28 degrees, 2 plus 8, to the divine feminine, to their 8, infinity, balance, bringing things into balance. But this is also about your physical energy. I think there's going to be some amazing insights come from this North Node Neptune conjunction, because Neptune is finishing its journey in Pisces. North Node is what we're being pulled towards, what we're longing for. We are longing for more interconnected, more spiritual, more compassionate, more loving energy as a collective in general. I think there's going to be waves of compassion coming as this approaches in this week ahead. I think it's just so powerful because, you know, I think a lot of people are waking up. You know, I mean, what did he say about the crash? Well, he's blaming this plane and helicopter awful accident on DEI, first of all. And then when somebody said, are you going to visit the crash site? He was like, no, what, do you think I'm going to swim? Because it's in a Potomac River. I just think the lack of caring and compassion for the people is being shown. And I think that's showing up in a lot of other areas of the world too. And I think the people are going to say, no, I think more people are going to wake up this week. I think they're going to have like this rush of, oh my God, this is just, and compassion for themselves, you know? They're going to realize that, you know, perhaps what they've been supporting is just awful. February the 8th, I still also think we're not going to end up with what happened with Hitler. So please, you know, I think they're trying, but there's several reasons why I think it's not going to be that way. So February the 8th, 2025 is Saturday. So that finishes the week. So on February the 8th, the moon finishes up in Gemini, but the sun over here will sextile Chiron. Sun moving towards Chiron, that's fire and air. We're in the phase between the first quarter and the full moon before the February the 12th Leo moon. And this is really going to start giving you ideas about what you can do to be the change you want to see in the world. And so February the 8th. Anything else? Well, the moon will move into the sign of Cancer. Of course, it's going to be out of bounds again. By the way, the moon moves out of bounds. When does it move out of bounds? Let me... Oh. 1 second. I really feel I need to tell you because we are reaching the absolute bit of lunar maximum. So I have to find my writing about this. So bear with me 1 second. I could have done it before, I know. You might get a lot of fast talking this week. People wanted my videos to be shorter. Well, one person. This week might be the week. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so the moon went out of bounds February the 5th at 6:29 p.m. Eastern, and will be out of bounds till 6:31 p.m. on February the 10th. So it's out of bounds for ages, and it'll go back in bounds at 3:33 Leo. Oh, I love that degree. Anyway, so the moon is out of bounds. It went out of bounds on the Pleiades, by the way, the Weeping Sisters with Algol and things, and where Uranus is going to be traveling over again. And the Pleiades are always involved in big, massive shifts and massive changes. And this is no different at this point. So anything else on February the 8th? Well, the moon will, at 28 Gemini, will square the nodes and square Neptune. So not only do we have Neptune squaring the nodes for the first time in a long, long time, because Neptune is only in Pisces every 165 years, by the way, but also the moon, the people, is squaring this. And the moon at 28 Gemini is out of bounds. I think this week is just going to bring waves. It's going to bring sadness, grief, but through that, people are going to kind of wake up to more compassionate, like, oh my God, this is awful. We cannot do this. I just saw that 2 homeless people died on the streets of Salt Lake City just in one night this week, because we've had a really cold snap, cold nights. And, you know, we've got a Trump supporting government. And so, even the Democratic Party here, we have a Democratic mayor, she's really not doing enough to help the unhoused. And society is not doing enough to help the unhoused people. So, this kind of thing so I'm not just talking about the administration. I'm talking about the general way that we have been moving to treat people, like not looking after people and not making sure that people are able to afford to have a home and so on. So, we live in a society together. So, I'm not talking about complete socialism. No, I'm just talking about just programs to support people. So, so Venus and the moon square off once the moon has moved into Cancer. So we start to get another vibe of, what's coming. So Venus will have moved to 3 Aries at that point. Are there any other? Oh, Mercury will then also sextile Chiron. So the Sun first, then Mercury. We're going to start getting a lot of seeing the big. See, people are going to kind of go, oh my God, this is what they were planning all along, and this was planning locally all along. What we've kind of believed in and been gaslit over with all this Pisces stuff that has been happening for quite some time, but is being revealed big time now. This chaotic turning point people's eyes are going to be opened, and we're going to say, oh, well, this affects me too. This affects my neighbor, Anyway, and I acknowledge that not everybody has as much Sag as me or a Gemini moon, so is not always able to see the bigger picture. Most people only just want to live and to be safe and secure. But I think down in their heart, most people really want other people to be able to do that too. So, and the role of society to do that, really. So February the 9th, Sunday, I'm just going to take a little look ahead. So I do want to just mention that we will have the Mercury superior Cazimi at 7:08 a.m. exactly. That's that moment of clarity, but the Mercury is on the other side of the sun, so information is being beamed through, in my opinion. I'll talk more next week in that. And also just another one last peek ahead, I think. Is there one? Just one, I think, is all you need. Mars has some action. Mars, and I'm going to mention it now. Mars, out of bounds, in the sign of Cancer, still retrograde, but moving towards his 17-degree station, which he's going to sit at that 17 degree for ages and ages. Mars is in trine to Saturn and Nessus. The abuses of power are just going to be in our faces this week. And this is them doing more abuses of power. I'm sorry, there is more to come, I think. But then look at this. It's also in square to Black Moon Lilith in Libra, the divine feminine. He's going to say, no, not on my watch. We are not doing this. We cannot have this. This is awful. And I think globally, all of us, when people wake up, I just wanted to see where asteroid Lilith was because she's opposing. Globally, I think, this is happening as well. People are kind of going to wake up and no, yes, some of their left needs to change too, but and how we do things. AOC, one of my favorites, did an interview with Jon Stewart, and she was explaining how all these committees work in government and things, and how the Democratic Party just is so predictable in their response. And I think she was pulling into the energy of the chaos to say we need to be able to subvert things. She's not talking about break the rule, but responding differently to how we normally would respond. And interestingly, last night there was a talk by the Senate committees who are the guy that's going to direct the government funding, where it goes, and those kind of things. I can't remember that he was one of the writers of the Project 2025. So, and again, this is happening everywhere as well. They actually did a press conference to say no, this is really dangerous if he's nominated. This is going to be like the end of the government as we know it. So that's kind of pretty unusual. They were all kind of lined up. So again, sorry for being so US focused, but all of this is hitting the US chart anyway, as we know. And I do think this week, he could be nominated. And the other awful nominees are being passed. But I just feel like more people need to see this chaos to realize that they have to kind of dig in, heal from the inside out, forgiveness for those that were misled and gaslit, because you promised them the world, and all that's what these people do, and to stop thinking that any of these oligarchs give a shit about anybody other than power. Now I see why I was leaving asteroid chaos in, because Venus is going to square chaos. And this is our basis of security, Cancer. Our basis of security and safety globally is being threatened by what's happening with the oligarchs, or whatever you want to call them. Anyway, there's my rantings and my things. So, I usually pull a card, don't I? So let me pull a couple of cards for the week ahead from the deck I use for my Venus retrograde class. Now, I promise I will not rant politically in the Venus retrograde class. It's very focused on your personal healing because it's a lot to cover, and a lot of it is actual healing work. I give you guidance. We do collective healing journeys together, and I give you guidance based on the astrology on those healing journeys. And then we kind of come back, and it's kind of a process of deepening within until you get right down into that most inner self and heal from the inside out. So it's not really just astrology, though I do talk about the astrology, but I won't talk the politics in the Venus class because I've got enough other places to talk about that. And enough to talk about in the Venus class about you. Oh, so the week ahead. Okay. All right. So let me get my book. These cards are so unusual. I still have to use the book, even though, this is the second Venus retrograde I've used them, but they're very unusual, and there's a specific reason why I use them for this. And if you really want to know, it's based on the Eleusinian mysteries, which is kind of what my even though I didn't know that when I started doing it, the class is the kind of what happened in the Eleusinian mysteries. So anyway, we start the week. Water has a memory and carries within it our thoughts and prayers. As you yourself are water, no matter where you are, your prayers will be carried to the rest of the world. And that's Masaru Emoto. And it says, I am nostalgic. So this card offers kindness, hospitality, and generosity, which we receive with grace and love. And you need to give it to yourself as well, right? We are reminded that we belong and all is well. Sentimental and nostalgic memories may arise from our past. Something or someone from long ago may appear and become prominent in our thoughts and feelings. Our inner child may also make itself known, offering us memories, wounded ones and happier ones. Let us send love and forgiveness to all the hidden parts of the self, and feel gratitude for the joyful memories we can remember. For now, we will spend some time looking backwards, but soon we must move forwards into the now. Living in a world overflowing with memories and nostalgia can steal our days. We smile, our soul smiles, we are understanding exactly where we are meant to be. And this is, I think, is what that cluster of energy in Pisces is bringing for us, okay, this week. Seeker of torches. So nostalgia, but kind of learn from it, okay. This is Seeker of Torches. This one is interesting. So he says, the mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. Remember I said Mercury and the fire and air and everything. We're kindling that flame. And this is also Vesta as well, the inner flame. So, So this is inviting you to feel excited about the possibilities of what can emerge from this instead of sitting in that nostalgia and gloom. Here sits a youthful energy full of vitality and verve. If a journey, inner or outer, beckons us, be assured it will be bringing a time of adventure, creativity, and enthusiasm into your life. The seeker describes a carefree, confident soul who is often restless and needs the feeling of freedom in their life. This youthful energy would be wise to not become overinflated, as there is so much still to learn. Excitement rises as we probably can consider a variety of possibilities. Hope and then grace must be remembered too. This seeker will never live a vicarious life and always wants to live their life to the absolute full. This is seize the day energy. This is what we're being called for now. We're being called to seize the day, and not sit in that maudlin kind of belly aching kind of thing that I've talked about. And that does not mean not having compassion either. Oh, sorry, I went to the wrong suit. I need seeds. So the last card for this week is the Three of Seeds. Oh, I think we had, no, I had it on my Substack. Before the reward, there must be labour. You plant before you harvest. You sow in tears before you reap joy. Ralph Ransom. I am community. So this card is about community, growth and abundance. Something is being created and planted. It's maybe in its early stages. Sometimes we can envision the way forward, but really find it really difficult to bring in the harvest. This card actually suggests a path that may lead you to interact with others who can teach you the necessary skills, and I'm going to say, and to do it with you, okay, to bring something to manifestation. So it might not be about being taught, but it might be coming together and bringing your skills together in community too, okay, because we cannot do all of this alone, all right? So, but it doesn't matter if we are the worker, the apprentice, or the teacher. That's basically it. For all are a part of a whole, and we will enjoy the satisfaction of the end result. May we offer our work and creativity to our community, to the world, and thereby become connected to something larger and greater than ourselves. Many hands make light work. Alrighty, love you. Have a wonderful week, and remember, really, it's time to seize the day. Love you.